Hello and welcome to the Brutal Iron Gym podcast, where our goal is to cut through the BS and deliver the brutal truth about topics related to health and happiness. Today's podcast is number 1475. The topic is mindset and the title is Keep Moving. So I wanted to share some stories, current and past, and just kind of do this for some motivation. One of my current clients, we train for both powerlifting and to run marathons, which is pretty awesome. She was told she couldn't do that by somebody else. And then she came to me and I was like, hell yeah. So we went ahead and did that. And she's been doing really well. So she's been progressing in powerlifting, getting better every single meet. And she just ran her 10th marathon, which was the Chicago Marathon, which was pretty badass. We actually have a programming example, like one of her most recent programs, up on our website, so you can check that out, www.brutalirongym.com. You can go to the free program tab, and you'll see that under one of the options, there's a powerlifting and marathon running combination program. So you can check that out if you want. Well, right now, she's working her way back from the marathon. I think it was actually like less than 2 weeks ago. So she is noticing that it's going to take a little bit of time to get back to some squat strength. Just the legs were pretty dead from that marathon. So just letting the lower body heal is very important. Now that can be very challenging because she can't squat what she would normally squat right now. And whether you're coming back from, a different type of competition, whether you're coming back from time off, whether you're coming back from maybe life chaos that got in the way, it can be very frustrating when you can't return back to what you typically would do, and that's frustrating. It can be demoralizing. But what I told her was, I said, still focus on all the other aspects of the workouts. What's still going to be motivating and the ways in which you are still making progress. So when she goes in and she works out, like I can help her with nutrition. So we have a really controlled calories, protein distribution, all the good stuff. And then with the activity of the workout, she is going to be losing body fat. So she's slowly building muscle from the training. Even if the weight loads are lower, there's still enough to cause muscle tissue stress and damage. So she's going to be building muscle. She's going to be losing fat. So she's improving her body composition. She's going to look even better. And she's still going to get strengthening around her joints. So a lot of our routine is built to improve hip mobility, core strength, and thoracic positioning, like her shoulder and postural type things. So she's still going to get all of those benefits. And even if she can't squat as much as she normally would, we can still work on technique. So even at lighter weights, we can still pay attention to, where the balance is in our feet throughout the descent of the squat. We can pay attention to pushing back into the bar. So she has pretty long femurs, so she has to have a pretty bent over position. So we're working on what the mechanics of that, like how you have to counter the weight of the bar and how that feels. So even though she's not feeling at her peak strength, there's still so much that she can get from her training. There's actually more that she's getting from her training than what she's missing. So there's the fat loss, the muscle building, the strengthening around the joints, the improved overall mobility, improving technique. There's so much. And that's going to be her motivation to keep working out, to keep, diligent with her nutrition, with her recovery, and wait for the strength to come back. I had another client. They were swamped at work for a week. They got some kind of special project, and they were up till, all hours of the day, all hours of the night. And they were only able to get 3 workouts in instead of 4. And one of the workouts was just like body weight stuff. They said, I don't even know what I did. I was so deliriously tired. I think I did some squats and some push-ups against my desk and just called it a day. So it was 2 really good workouts. I'm glad they moved that 3rd time. Power to them to do that when they're brain dead. But what was great about it was, even though they missed a week of training, which for them feels like they fell behind, what we talked about and what I pointed out is you did a great job of staying active enough that you kept the healthy balance of muscle tightness around the hips. So this person had previously had back pain that would kind of always come and go until we started working together. When I started working together, I was showing them how to work on hip mobility and how to do stretches and what would be the proper sequencing for big heavy lifts versus mobility work. And the lower back pain has only returned if they've had like a full week off of training, or they went on a vacation and they were gone for 9 days one time. And then we just kind of take that week when they get back to re-stretch and kind of fix things. And they're usually bummed that they missed that week as well. So they missed the time away, then they missed that first week just trying to reset things. So I pointed out to them, I said, hey, you did a kick-ass job. We've been talking about this from the start, that, weeks that you can't work out, or stretches of time that you can't work out, at least do your mobility work, at least do your daily stretches, which takes like less than 10 minutes. That way they can keep that muscular balance that protects their back. So they were able to do that this time, and it was awesome. So right back when they got back into their regular week of training, we didn't have to do anything to counter any of it. They picked up right where they left off. Then they said everything felt a little heavy, because they hadn't picked up a 400-pound weight in a week when they're normally used to doing that. But they didn't miss any reps. There was no back pain. Everything felt really good in the joints. So it was great. Even though they were swamped at work, they found a way to still do something, to still do a minimum, to still move, keep moving in some way. I have another client, crazy stress in life, just they have about 4 million things going on. And they had said that typically what happens when this happens to them, when they have a lot of stress, they would not eat anything all day, and maybe not even eat anything that night. But, every second night or every third night or a couple back-to-back nights, they eat everything in the house. So it's not eat anything all day and then binge at night. But they have fought really freaking hard to lose over 60 pounds. So they are looking amazing. They're feeling a lot better. They can see muscle tone and shape. Their core is a lot more defined. So they're really fired up because they've made such great progress, but yet they're going through all this stress. And what we talked about was, hey, if you can, during this time of stress, let's just focus on minimums. When we talk about calories, let's just stay somewhere within our range. And their current range, that was typically like smaller ranges for training day or non-training day, but the whole entire range was 1,600 to 2,000 calories. And I told her, I said, just focus on being somewhere in there. Doesn't matter if it's a training day, non-training day. Doesn't matter if you didn't work out for a couple days. Just be somewhere between 1,600 and 2,000. We set a protein minimum of 100 grams a day. And then for distribution, I said at least eat twice during the day. So at least have 2 daytime meals. I don't care if it's half of a protein bar. Just eat something during the day twice. And in the last 2 weeks, she's held her weight. So it's amazing. So she's going through crazy, crazy stress. And she's hitting these calorie minimums. She's hitting the protein minimums. She's at least getting 2 kind of meals in a day. And she's been able to hold her weight for the past 2 weeks, even though she hasn't even been able to work out. So she hasn't been able to work out, been kind of too depressed, too sad, too busy, but she's holding on to her nutrition. She's holding on to her weight. And in all of these cases, life got hard for these people, whether it's coming back from a competition and you don't quite feel yourself yet, or life stress and that gets in the way of training, life stress that gets in the way of nutrition. So life got hard, but they kept moving with something, with anything. So that way they could keep the dream of their goals, keep the hope of their goals alive. So I remember one of my older injuries, I had to have surgery on my collarbone. I'd have metal plates put in my collarbone. And this is before I owned the gym, and I was teaching at the local university. I would get to the university. I taught 8 a.m. classes because I'm a psychopath. But it was good force discipline, got me up and active. But I would get up at 5:45 every day. I'd get to the gym by about 6:15. I would train till about 7:15, 7:30, take a shower, and then start teaching class. And even with the broken collarbone and like the surgery and my arm in a sling and all this stuff, I couldn't really do much. I was supposed to take 5 months without lifting weights. That only lasted 5 weeks. Thankfully, everything's still intact. But I couldn't do much. So for 5 weeks, I got on the treadmill and I walked at various speeds and various inclines. And I found that as long as I didn't go over, I think it was like 3.2. As long as I didn't go over 3.2, the jarring in my shoulder wasn't too bad. And then the only other thing I could figure out how to do with the machines that were around was leg extensions. everything else I had to like brace myself or hold on to something or try to hold something to get into something. So it was really challenging. But I found I could do leg extensions, but only a certain amount of weight. If I went any heavier, I had to pull myself down into the seat. And even if I pulled with my healthy arm, it still pulled on the bad side. So that was a no-go. So I remember I forget the weight, but it was like 50 pounds. And I would set a challenge for myself to see if I could do 1,000 reps. So I did 1,000 reps of leg extensions, and I did that every day. I did that at least 5 days a week during the weekdays, and then on the weekend I'd still go for a walk or go do things. But I would do 1,000 reps of leg extensions after walking on the treadmill for a while. And it was something that just kept me moving. I've always used exercise as a way to help manage my mental and emotional health. It's always something where, I don't know how to explain it except for when you go and you beat yourself up in the gym, nothing else in life seems to matter that much. You're just maybe too tired to deal with it. Too tired to get mad. Too tired to, get overly emotional. So I always liked that when I beat myself up in the gym, everything else in life seemed a lot easier than that. So it seemed more manageable. And that was just kind of a trick, I guess, of, if I could beat myself up worse than life could, then life wasn't that much of a challenge. So I've always been active. I started doing daily exercise at 15 years old, and I have never missed more than 6 days. So I've missed a week, essentially twice in my life. Once was due to physical pains and related to inflammation that actually made me throw up. So I was still doing like calf raises, but I don't really count that. And the other time was kind of a mental issues that I was having with anxiety and stuff. So in 23 years, I've only not worked out a week at a time twice. So the rest of the time I've worked out, multiple times a week. There were years I went where I worked out every single day for years. So it's something that's normal for me, and it's what I do. It's part of who I am. So to have an injury that almost completely prevented that was a big thing for me. I still had to find a way to keep moving. That was something that, as for the other people, it kept your hope alive. If you're moving, there's hope that someday you can break through what you're fighting against. That at least maybe while you're fighting, you're not going to go backwards. There's hope that there's a possibility of something new, of success still ahead. But if you sit still, if you do nothing, there is nothing. There is no hope. That defeats you mentally, emotionally, physically, just your whole self. No movement equals no hope. Even if you can't do what's perfect, recognize that doing something is better than nothing. It's not all or nothing. It's all or something. I'm going to do everything perfect within what I can control. Maybe I can't control everything that makes a perfect day, but I can control what's within my control to still have a good day. Meredith and I, my wife, we often kind of talk about when there's challenges or stresses or struggles in life is that God helps those who help themselves. And what that means is if we keep moving, something good will come from it. So we stay active. We do something. We research into it. We're open to maybe new ideas. Maybe I'm in my own way. Maybe the way I'm believing about something is why it's stagnant and it's struggling. So maybe I have to do research. Maybe I have to be willing to try something new. You just have to keep momentum. Say that moss doesn't gather on a rolling stone kind of thing. So no moss. Say no more to sitting still. Just keep moving. Keep the momentum. And eventually you will find something that looks promising in the respective success. You'll find hope. So no matter what you're going through, keep moving. Keep moving. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter if you have any idea what you're doing. Just keep moving. That keeps the hope of something better in the future coming your way. So I wanted to give a couple things nutritionally. A general caloric range that you should aim for if you're kind of struggling and life is chaos and you're not doing like perfect with your food. Just be somewhere within like whatever you think a lean body weight for you is. Maybe that's the body weight you're at, or you're like, yeah, I could stand to lose about 50 pounds, so maybe I'll pick the weight that would be me minus 30 pounds. So something that would be like a weight that you could walk around with at a regular, expectation of life quality. So not 0% body fat. So pick a lean body weight and then multiply that by 11 to 15. So body weight, that lean body weight times 11 is the bottom of your calorie range. That lean body weight times 15 is the top. Stay somewhere within that range while you're going through your stresses and struggles. Protein, take that lean body weight and multiply it by 0.6. And that gives you grams per day of protein that you should aim for as a minimum. And we're talking about body weight in pounds, not kilograms. So pounds of lean body weight times 11 to 15 for calories, pounds of lean body weight times 0.6 for protein. And then for distribution, just have 2 daytime meals. Say, okay, no matter what, I'm going to eat at least twice during the day. Doesn't matter if it's a couple bites of something or if it's a full meal, but I'm going to eat twice during the day so I don't eat everything at night. And then for training, it's literally just anything above your normal daily activities. If you're waiting for food to heat in the microwave, do some bodyweight squats. Boom. Counts as you training for the day. Doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter how long it is, just move something more than what the normal day demanded. A little above that. What I often do in those moments is I'll set a 10-minute timer and I just move for 10 minutes. Whatever the hell I can do, whatever I feel like doing, it's 10 minutes, it's better than 0 minutes, and it counts for something. Podcast number 266 is an old podcast, but you can find old podcasts if you go to our website, www.brutalirongym.com. We have instructions on how to find old podcasts there. But we have a podcast number 266. It's a training podcast titled Bodyweight Training. And it'll tell you how to structure bodyweight workouts. So I hope that no matter what you're going through, that you can see the benefit of maintaining movement. Just keep moving in some way. Whether that's, paying attention to your calories, paying attention to your protein, distribution. Maybe it's just moving to stay active. Maybe you do some kind of 10-minute stretch routine. Find a stretch yoga routine for 10 minutes off YouTube. Just move. Anything that you do, even if it's picking up a book that day or watching a video on YouTube or reading an article, just even if it's intellectual movement, just something that you're doing that day that's investing into your goals. If you keep moving, there is still hope. There's always the possibility of something getting better if you keep moving. Okay? Well, if you're struggling with anything and you think I can help, reach out. Our email is brutalirongym@gmail.com. Well, if you like today's podcast or the podcast in general, please share the podcast. If you share it on social media, that reaches the most amount of people. But even if you're just sharing a conversation, that helps as well. We just want to spread the word of the podcast to help people live their healthiest and happiest lives. Thank you to the people who financially support the podcast through donations, which you can do on our website now. The podcast is well over $1,000 a year for hosting costs. I give an hour to it every day, and we want to keep it for free. So thank you to those who give donations. You can do that at our website at www.brutalirongym.com. Options there for a one-time donation, monthly donation, yearly donation, even just $5 a month. It does go a long way. So thank you to those who do that. Also, if you like the information we share in our podcast, you can find more from us on our social media channels on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube under the name Brutal Iron Gym. If you have any questions, feedback, suggestions, anything that you want to know, let us know at our email, brutalirongym@gmail.com. As always, I hope this was helpful, and thank you for listening.